Hey guys, this is Meredith from lymecompass.net with an educational video for you today on Comfrey. Comfrey, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Here it is, about ready to flower. I often don't let it get this way. I try to keep it in just leaf, but I wanted you to see the ID. This plant will spread. If you introduce it into your garden or your yard, you'll have comfrey for a long time, especially if you let it go to seed. And let's see, the whole plant is medicinal. This is Miss Bluebell. The whole plant is medicinal, and it's very mucilaginous. The root is like, if you were to cut into the root, it's so slimy, it's like a slug. And the leaves are very also mucilaginous, especially in the stem. So the way I use this plant is, I don't think I've ever made salve without comfrey in it. There is one thing with comfrey leaf, it's so healing to the skin and also internally, that you don't want to use it on puncture wounds, because it will heal the skin over so quickly, and that a deep puncture wound won't have time, like all the deep layers. So I recommend not to use it in that circumstance. But oh my goodness, any kind of rash you've got going on, it's really good for eczema. But what it is really, really well known for, and that I love and revere about it, is that it reduces swelling. And oh my goodness, us Lyme folk, we need all the help we can get in reducing swelling. So it really helps to reduce swelling of the tissues. So it's really good in realms of sprains, strains, fractures, broken bones, and joint inflammation. So sometimes, in my own experience, no matter how many anti-inflammatories I'm using and really trying to keep on track with treatments, sometimes I just wake up and I have this terribly swollen knee or shoulder or what have you. And when that happens, I often get out my bee venom, but I also will use comfrey. There's been times when the swelling has been so bad for me that I've thought that I've dislocated like my knee, because my knee was like 4 times the size of my other knee. But in that case, when you have this extreme swelling going on, despite using internal anti-inflammatories, sometimes I will do an external poultice. And this poultice is just the leaves with like a tablespoon of warm water that I run through my really ancient Cuisinart. And it's super slimy. And I'll smear this all over my knee or whatever is swollen. And then I will wrap, I'm one of those crunchy, try not to use any plastic people. So I have these beeswax wraps. That's just, fabric with melted beeswax. And then I will wrap it up and just keep it on there for, as long as I can stand to sit there with it on, which is usually, 30 minutes to 40 minutes. And it can really help reduce the swelling. So that's one of those things when you've got like acute, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind, this swelling is insane. It's something you can do. Let's see what else. In the 60s and 70s, it was super popular to have smoothies with comfrey leaf in it. And then there was some research done, and a laboratory, whom I cannot remember who, decided to isolate chemical constituents of comfrey. And when they did this, I think it was the pyrrolizodine or zodine that they isolated, and then it's an alkaloid, and they fed it to rats in like really large quantities, and the rats had liver problems, and then, lo and behold, they come out and say that comfrey is poisonous. and will cause liver damage. But that was not using the whole plant. That was isolating a chemical constituent in really high doses and saying that this is no longer a valuable plant. But before that study, people were using the comfrey all the time internally, putting it in smoothies because it has these fine hairs, and if you cook it, because of the mucilaginous quality, it's kind of slimy food. But it's 7 times higher in protein than soybeans. And the flowers here are really high in B12. It's a natural plant source of B12. And so I do use this plant internally in smoothies, and I tend to use it when there's a cough going on, when I need some extra mucous membrane protection, GI issues. It can be used kind of in the way that people use slippery elm to sort of coat and protect. And gosh, there's so many great things about this plant. Don't know if I mentioned it, but it will spread. If you introduce it, just the tiniest little root, it's a strong plant and it will spread. And we use it in the garden a lot. You know, it's a great compost crop because it's constantly giving you these really great leaves, like big leaves, and it makes a wonderful compost crop. We've mulched with it. We've lined the potatoes with it and seem to do really well. And yeah, that's what I have to say about comfrey. It's a great, beautiful plant. And these little flowers are super tasty. And they don't come in plastic. It's B12, not in plastic. Woo! Thanks, guys.